Hello, welcome to my show in the dark. I'm just playing. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and we can get through it and get to it. What am I doing? Well, I'm trying a new setup. Always trying a new setup. Keep things interesting. My glasses are a little crooked today, but I guess that's with the territory, right? So today's video is to catch your attention. But first, let me talk about a video that I did just a few days ago, almost a week ago, and it got the lowest views I have gotten since I started my channel for cameras. So I'm trying to do what you guys like, but you don't give me a chance. Aww. That's why I decided to choose this topic and see how far I get with this topic. So, and I keep looking down because I'm like, am I in focus? Am I in focus? It's not following me with autofocus. Maybe I should stand right here. All right, this will follow me. See, I got to do the cheat. But anyway, welcome. This video is about the best cameras that I own and rank them in order from what I prefer to use, from least best to greatest. And my cameras range from 4 or 5 years old to pretty new cameras to today. So I got a wide range of cameras for video. But I'm going to tell you which ones I think are the best. We're going to start with number 6. So I've got 6 different models of cameras. So different brands. I got 2 of this like the same brand, but we're going to talk about the 6 different models. And we're going to start with 6th place. Let me go grab that right now because, of course, I'm unprepared. Woo! Sneaking up back in here. Okay. Oh, I grabbed the wrong camera. I grabbed like the 5th place camera. And I'm like, that's going to be 6th place. No, definitely not. Let me take off my glasses too. It's like blinded me and causing like reflection on the video. That's not good. Anyway, 6th place goes to, and surprise, by the way, this is focused mostly on video. For photography, I mean, it's a plus and it adds to the points of where I rank the cameras, but it's mostly for video purpose. And number 6, you're not going to believe it. Last place, I use this least when compared to all these other cameras. Panasonic GH5. It doesn't even have a lens on it. Here are the good things about this camera and why I got it, because why else would I get a camera unless I wanted to actually use it? So, great thing about the GH5. 60 frames per second in 4K at a time where no one was doing that. Awesome. You had, I think, like 12 stops of dynamic range with Vlog, which was awesome. You had a really good look off the sensor when you're actually filming correctly, and the footage just looks great. But the downsides knock it down to the least used. Now, I want a camera that's convenient, and though this camera has like a flip screen that way you could use and like definitely vlog yourself with a flip screen, what good is it if you can't actually be quick with the autofocus? And the autofocus, even when I use the native lens, I don't have any more native lenses because I smashed the one I had with this one. Don't ask, it was a horrible story. But apparently, the autofocus is, I mean, it's been improved over time, but it's still terrible when compared to my other cameras. So why would I choose this? And sure, you had in-body image stabilization, which looks great, but what good is vlogging if you're just trying to constantly focus on yourself? And when focusing on other subjects, sure, you could do manual focus, which is not really an issue. But the other big issue that I had with this camera is that when working with the footage in post, wasn't the smoothest to edit. And to be honest, the vlog footage, I hated color grading. I got it to the point where I can get it to be likable, but the final image was just ugh. I mean, I could do so much better with the other cameras that I have on the list, which is why they place higher. But, you know, it has come into handy with no recording limit. And the other thing that I will mention on this is that because the low light capability on this micro 4/3 sensor wasn't that great, I found myself hating whatever I recorded with this. So, last place. But now on to 5th place. I grabbed the camera again that I grabbed the last time. So 5th place goes to the Canon 6D. That's right, a really old camera. The Canon 6D I would use more often than the GH5 because of its full frame. Sure, it's only 1080p at 30 frames per second, but the full frame is awesome. Yes, you don't have continuous autofocus video, but the full frame footage is awesome, the low light performance is awesome, the dynamic range is awesome, actually beats out the 6D Mark II when it comes to low light, the colors are great, and though you don't have log, if you input like CineStyle into one of the color profiles that you pick on the camera, it's pretty good. It actually lets you grade it pretty well. The color science is awesome, and I can match it with my other Canon cameras, and it works. And it was because it was like the first video based DSLR that I ever purchased, I fell in love with it, and I still use it, and it's great for photos. So that adds it points that the GH5 did not have. So 6D, all these years later, you still win. And it records RAW when you install the Magic Lantern custom software. RAW video on this little thing. Can't be beat. Well, it can't. I mean, it's in 5th place, right? But close. Next. I had like a chair like right next to me. I almost kept tripping. Anyway, 4th place. So we did 6th, we did 5th. Samsung NX1. I got 2 of these babies. Now what puts this above the GH5 and the Canon 6D is simple. 4K video. This was my first 4K video capable camera, but there's also a lot of other advantages that it has besides the fact that it could do 4K. The color science is brilliant on this camera. I love everything that comes out of this camera without having to grade it in post. It just looks nice and punchy. But I can tweak the settings too to make it kind of like less contrasty and then adjust the colors in post. Yes, the downside is it's only 8-bit 420, but it's an H.265 video codec, which means I can get really high quality off of a 6.5K sensor, downsampled to 4K on this beast, and its file sizes are only 80 megabits per second, which, if you think about it, because of the codec, it's like twice that. It's like 160 megabits per second if it was like one of the less efficient codecs, and it writes to an SD card. Awesome! And it takes great photos, so it's reliable with photos as well. And it's just quick, it's reliable, and I got custom firmware to extend the recording time limit to like about an hour. If you do anything more, it's not that the camera will stop, it's just that your files will glitch on you. But it's just amazing. So the downside why it's only 4th place is that it's no longer supported, it's getting old, and if I drop this, it's over for this camera. So I keep 2 of these, and they're reliable as hell. Battery life is cool too, but only 1 card slot. That's another downside. Anyway, off to 3rd place. I got some news. I can't really show you 3rd place. I could kind of show you, but I can't really show you. See if you could see that back there. Right between... Right there. Can you guys see that? It's I can't. I'm trying to look at the screen with the finger. Anyway, right there, in between those 2 screens that I got behind me, is the Canon 5D Mark IV, which I use for live streaming. So that's why it's placed there, and I don't like to move it because I got it exactly where I want it. 5D Mark IV, full frame video, up to 60 frames per second in 1080p. 720p gives you 120 frames per second, and you have 4K up to 30 frames per second. Dual pixel autofocus, so it's my Canon camera that can actually focus while I'm vlogging. And when I put it on a gimbal, which I have a gimbal, it's smooth, it's steady, it's got me locked on focus. Sure, it has a 1.74 times crop on the 4K, but because I have a extra wide 11 to 20 Tokina lens that's actually designed for APS-C cameras, but because of the crop, it doesn't matter, it works. It's like 16 to 35 millimeter shot off of that lens, and it works perfectly for vlogging. I've used it a ton for vlogging, a ton for this channel, a ton for professional photo shoots, dual card slots, but the downsides exist. The crop in the 4K, and the fact that the 4K comes in an antiquated MJPEG codec, which is 500 megabits per second. But I figured out a workaround. I can record 500 megabits per second in SD card, and it works just fine. So I could get tons of footage off of it. And if you think about it, modern cameras today from Canon still record at a pretty high megabit rate, although they're probably more efficient still. And the color science, and it has C-Log, and it's well respected, it's pretty good. It's Canon's last 5D in the DSLR line. Awesome camera. I don't have any regrets with that camera. So it's in 3rd place, above the Samsung, above the GH5, and above the original 6D. Awesome camera. Now what comes in 2nd place, you ask? Now remember, this is just my list, so don't get mad. Don't come at me. This is just my list. So 2nd place. My list is my list because it's based mostly on what I use the most and what I use the least. And yes, what I use the least is a GH5. But don't get mad. 2nd place? dropping all this stuff here. Anyway, second place is R5. That's right, R5 does not have first place. Reason R5's got second place is all of the great features that it has. I mean, this is a one-stop shop when it comes to cameras. 8K recording, 4K at 120 frames per second, dual pixel autofocus 2 that is crazy fast and crazy accurate, great low light performance. You could record 8K RAW, so you got the raw video that I was getting off of the 6D in this thing, but much better quality. You've got incredible, probably one of the best photo cameras ever released. Just unstoppable when it comes to video. Just does everything. Yes, there are downsides. There's overheating, but I haven't really had overheating issues. So for me, overheating is not a problem. Why even worry about overheating? If I want to record 8K RAW, I have. If I wanted to do an 8K RAW production, I do. 4K 120, I do. Never let it stop me. Yeah, it's crazy expensive, so that's a downside. But I'm just talking about cameras, about usability, not for the cost. But I got a nice little CF Express Type B card that's 1 terabyte, and it does about 50 minutes of 8K RAW. So from that perspective, at least if I really need to get 8K RAW, I can definitely get 8K RAW without a problem. And it's actually pretty cheap. I'll leave a link on the description down below so that you can pick up that card, because it's one of the least expensive cards that you can get that's really big, up to 2 terabytes. I got 1 terabyte. It works phenomenal, works great. So no more a 64 gigabyte CF Express card. Anyway, to the point. And the downside why it's second place as well is the fact that editing is not fun, especially when it comes to the higher quality footage. I still edit just like I did the 5D Mark IV with its 4K files, but once I'm pushing the 8K compressed files and even 8K RAW, it's not fun. Then it becomes a proxy mess. And yes, I could do proxies while I'm recording 8K RAW, so that helps, but wish it were faster. And then the C-Log in this camera is a bit different, so I'm kind of having trouble with the C-Log on this for some weird reason. I've usually been good with C-Log. Sorry, R5. And I still haven't gotten a chance to use this as much as I would like. So that's another reason why it's second place. I dropped everything here. I got stuff on the floor. Anyway, my number one camera, when compared to all of these, for filming, is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K, which I'm recording off right now. Why is it? It's because it does what I want right off the box. But if I want to do more, you could kind of rig it up to get it to do more. Yes, the battery life is poor, but you could rig it up to improve the battery life. Yes, it's got no flip screen, but you could rig it up to get your own screen on it, which you could do with like the other cameras too, but the problem is solvable. Yes, it only does 4K at 60 frames per second, but going any higher than that is rare, so it's not as used as the most important feature, which is getting good quality footage, and this camera does it. Yes, it's got no autofocus. For the quality footage that I get off of this camera, it's okay. I can deal with no autofocus. Like I'm dealing with now. I got a screen that's facing me. I can see that I'm in focus, and that's it. I am in focus, right? Okay. I can see it, and then that's it. And because when I'm in control and I want good footage, I know that I'm going to get it. And I just love the way this camera looks when I'm editing. And that's the thing. I record RAW all the time to an SD card or to SDD. Depends on me, whatever I want. But it just works efficiently. And then when editing, it edits smoothly with full RAW controls. Doing that on the R5 is tough on anyone's computer. But the 4K to edit the RAW is just sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And all of the video modes and the easy interface, and I could go on for hours talking about this, but the fact that it's practically full frame because I added a speed booster to it, so it uses all my Canon lenses, it's fantastic. It's just unbeatable when it comes to, I can't describe how awesome this is. I actually broke the Blackmagic, which I'm recording on now. I actually broke the slot to record to SSD, and I still kept on using it with an SD card until the camera just completely died on me, and I sent it back to Blackmagic, waited what I needed to wait, and got it back because I really, 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 really like this camera. So I'll leave a link to all my cameras down below. I don't know if you can find the NX1, but at least all the other ones down below where you can actually purchase them yourself. So it actually helps out this channel without costing you any extra money when you click on those links. So I will thank you in advance, and happy holidays. And of course, as always, click on my last video. Damn it, I got like 40 views. Just kidding. Click on it if you want to see it. But it would really make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later. I hope this came out okay.